What's up guys, it's LEGO Hobo 910 here with another LEGO video. And in this video I'm reviewing set number 21029, the LEGO Architecture Buckingham Palace set. So let's get right into the review. Here is Buckingham Palace from London, England, the residency of the royal family obviously. And this is a LEGO Architecture set which is quickly growing to become one of my favorite lines. And let's start right at the front here. I like the way that they did these gardens here. They could have just easily, slapped a big tile over there or some large tiles. But they decided to use these small tiles as well as a few different studded tiles there. Studded plates. Which just adds a little bit of texture and interest. And that also brings me to the way that they did the tiles here as well for the street and the courtyard. They could have very easily just slapped down some large tiles, but they kept it as 2x2s for the main parts, except obviously then when they need a diagonal they used 1x1s. For the most part they use these 2x2s, which give it kind of a tiled look, which I really like. And then in the front here we have two small builds here. These are our vehicles. Here is obviously a double-decker London bus. It's very simple, but it gets the impression. And then here is just a small black car. And then in the front and center here we have the large fountain. I like the way that they used clear instead of the obvious blue because it's a lot more subtle for the water and also realistic watercolor. Plus, if they did blue, LEGO Architecture sets generally have kind of, a more muted color scheme, which is kind of, more realistic for real architecture. If they used the transparent blue, it would have just popped and stood out too much, so I like the fact that they decided to go with clear. Also, it uses a gold microfigure on the top, and it's overall a very simple build, but looks good. My one small complaint is the fact that this very easily pops off the main kind of statue in the center of the fountain. But there's really nothing they can do about that. That's just the way it has to connect in order to preserve the look. Moving back to the actual palace here, I like the gray streaks here. Adds a little bit of interest. I also like the way that they built kind of the lamps, and then use the obvious lattice fencing piece for the large fences. And then they used a minifigure scale window piece for the gate to the palace. Now, the palace build here gets a bit repetitive with these large window sections, which are built sideways, as well as repeating this roof section twice. It's slightly different as it's mirrored for those two chimneys, but also it's just very repetitive, building these roof lines, building the columns. But the repetitiveness does pay off, and it looks very good as well as being accurate. My one mild complaint is the choice of yellow there for the flag. I think it looks really bright and kind of pops a bit too much. I wish they would have gone with a dark blue, so it would look more like the British flag. I also like the use of headlight bricks inverted to create the windows, which is a commonly used technique, and it works out well here. Also, the bars for the columns work fairly well. They were a bit annoying to attach because you had them already attached to the bottom and had to attach something on the top, which is kind of a hard thing to do. The roofline is also fairly detailed for something as simple as just a roof. Moving around the back, this is obviously the less camera-friendly side, and there's not much going on here. I do like the fact that they could have just let this as a flat wall, maybe, popped this out like they did. Except they also applied these tiles here just to give it a bit more texture. And these are just attached on sideways. I like the fact that they did that just to give it a bit more depth and texture instead of just being a plain flat wall. It adds a bit more, just works out well. Overall, I really like this Buckingham Palace set. Now let's look at the packaging and just kind of final thoughts. I say it in all my LEGO Architecture reviews, but the LEGO Architecture line is just so high quality, and is just overall a really cool line. It has such great value as well. I also like the smooth black boxes that they always choose to do. And then also the way that instead of just, opening up on the sides like normal LEGO boxes do, they pop up like this and flip open. And then obviously in the instruction book, as always, it has history and explains the building, as well as having, real life pictures in the front. Overall, I really like the LEGO Architecture line. I think it's really unique and is swiftly becoming one of my favorite LEGO lines. So, overall, I think Buckingham Palace is a fine addition to LEGO Architecture. That's all from me, and bye.